Hello, my name is Denise Hoyt, and I'm a mental health provider who has used Therapy Appointment to manage both a solo and a large group practice since 2010. I thank you for joining me today as we highlight Therapy Appointment features that will assist you in managing your business, freeing up your time so that you can do what you love. We're focusing only on solo practices today, and thus we won't be highlighting any of our group features in this demonstration. But let's get started. And let's log into a Therapy Appointment account. When I log into Therapy Appointment, you're going to be greeted by a dashboard screen. And in my opinion, this dashboard screen is very helpful. It's going to have a list of appointments you have scheduled for today. Anything in yellow is a warning of something we might need to complete, like setting up that extra security on our account with two-factor authentication. And claims that we have ready for submission over here. You also are going to have a look at charts that need your attention, either that you haven't finished chart notes, or maybe you are a supervisor and you have someone who's sending you charts for your review. Treatment plans you might need to track that are expiring soon or have expired, in this case, by quite a while, and any insurance authorizations that are going to be expiring soon. Also, when you're first setting up your account, you have a to-do list, and I left some things on this to-do list so that you can see what that looks like. At the top right, you'll have a list of new clients. So these are clients that you haven't ever seen before. In other words, you haven't had a chart note or a session with them yet. So they stay here listed as new clients on the date that they were entered into your schedule. We have a very intuitive interface in Therapy Appointment. Over on the left-hand panel, you have your navigation pane. And being the owner of your practice, you're going to have everything we see here. And you have access to practice settings and profile. So the top of this is really more of about settings. Where you're going to live in your day-to-day life is under this therapy area. So let's take a good look at the schedule first and foremost. So our schedule should look very familiar to you in case you use any email, calendar clients like Google or iCal, for example. In fact, under your calendar settings, you can even have your personal Google Calendar imported. So I can make that appear or not appear here as superimposed on my schedule. Also, when you set up your availability for appointments, you can set them up based on location. So this therapist sees the first half of the week at one location and the second half at a second location. And that first location is noted by a blue background, the second location by a pink background. And what this means is if you choose to allow patients to self-schedule, they'll be asked which location they're scheduling into first and foremost, and they'll be presented with those appointment times for you. Okay. We offer drag and drop scheduling in Therapy Appointment. So, for example, if my new client calls to tell me that they can't make it today, but that tomorrow would be better at the same time, I can simply just grab onto it and drag it over to tomorrow. So that makes it just really swift to be able to handle that. I can also drag appointment times to be longer or shorter if that would be necessary. And when I click on top of an appointment time, you're going to be presented with a scheduling page. And in the scheduling page are those items that we usually take care of at an appointment session, which would be things like accepting payment, starting charting, and in case you have a situation where maybe you're not going to finish that chart note for a while, you'd like to go ahead and get that billed and a claim off to the insurance company, you're able to do that here. Additionally, you'll see things like rescheduling this appointment, canceling it, marking it as a no-show, giving the patient an excuse note for work or school, printing them out a list of upcoming session reminders, and getting back to the calendar. Okay. You have another view of your calendar, which is called Today, or an agenda view. This is a great view to be in case you happen to have a client in the room with you That way, if they're looking over your shoulder, they're only going to see initials, and if you click on their name, it's going to open up that page. Okay. And you can get to that page from here. There's another view. It's called Autopilot. This happens to be my favorite view. When a patient's in the room with me, I have this view set up so that it keeps time for me. In fact, it can even chime to let me know when my session time's over. I can see if I have any messages waiting from my clients, or if I'm in a group practice from others in my group. And it says I have 2 events scheduled today. So if I click on these 2 little circles representing those 2 events, it's going to bring up that patient's initials. And I have access here to see that I already have them scheduled for an appointment in the future. Pretty simple. I want to take a look at their last chart note. This is what I charted on last time for that patient. And then I can get to that appointment screen right from here. So it makes it really, really handy. And I think this is my favorite in-session view. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that Autopilot view. And let's go back to my schedule. Now you can put a patient on your schedule as long as they're listed in your list of clients. You're going to have a My Clients view and an All Clients view. This All Clients view becomes more important if you grow your practice and add additional providers. Then you'll have, as an owner, you'll have the ability to see all clients. But most of the time, you'll just be working in My Clients for yourself. Okay. I have a list of clients and I can sort those. I can search. I have advanced search tools, so I can search by a phone number or email address or date of birth. So lots of different ways to search for your client. Also, if you set up any groups, you'll see those groups listed here. And if I click on a group, I'll be able to see who I have already as part of that group and add any additional clients or remove a client from that group. In order to put a patient on your schedule, it's simply clicking in a box on your schedule and typing a letter or 2 of the patient's name. So I'm looking for Claire. I'm clicking on Claire's name, and we are putting her in at the 2nd location here automatically by default because we're putting her on our schedule. And if I'd like to make this a telehealth session, I'll just check a box, and this will now be a telehealth session. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create, and that is now on my schedule. And of course, I can drag and drop it anywhere that I'd like it to be. Now, if you would like to set up a patient for repeating appointments, let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put this repeating appointment in here for a patient. Let's see, let me find a patient here that I usually work with, and we will just choose Mona. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click Add Details here. So this allows me to change things like the start date and time very quickly and set up repeating appointments. So maybe I'd like to set up appointments every week or month or day, and then I can choose to have it end after X number of occurrences or on a certain date. So if I were to say, let's put it in for 3 weeks, then when I save that, it checks for conflicts. And there don't happen to be any conflicts for that time, so it's free and clear for us to schedule this patient into. Teletherapy session, yes or no? I go ahead and leaving that no for now. And then CPT code that I'm usually scheduling this patient into. Maybe you have a 90837 is what I usually see this patient for. So I'm going to go ahead and get him scheduled from that at the get-go. So now this is going to pop me over to the last appointment in that series I just set. And so I can scroll back and see that we have Mona on my schedule, scheduled out for those 3 weeks. Okay, so that makes it pretty simple and clear, I hope. Also, you can put a meeting on your schedule. Just click in a time slot, and instead of choosing appointment, choose meeting, out for lunch. And again, you have that option to add details or create. So let's go ahead and create it. I'm out for lunch here, and if I'd like to make that block larger, I'll just drag that. Pretty simple. If I'm allowing clients to self-schedule now, they won't be able to schedule into that time, and it's a reminder for me not to put anyone in that time as well. Now, if you do want to double book yourself, a patient can't do that, and you can't do it by accident. In other words, I can't click on this slot with Henry and put another patient in, but I could put a patient in and then drag them on top of that slot to double book myself, because we recognize there might be situations that you would need that to happen, although they're probably less common. I'll just move Mona back to here. Okay. So you'll notice that I can move a client out of a series. This is going to only affect this time in the series, not any of the future appointments. Adding a client into the system is very simple and easy. I can go up here and say add new client. I can go to my clients and say add new client. And all we need to do to add a client and get that started is put in their name, email address, phone number, and a date of birth. But additionally, Therapy Appointment has a paperless intake process. So I could simply click here and tell the patient, if I'm on the phone with them, to send, I've just sent them an invitation to the portal to please link on that it comes from Therapy Appointment. You're going to go ahead and get them scheduled. But if they'll click on that link, what you're going to present them with are any documents you would like them to have to read and or sign. There's also going to be a biography in there, and we'll take you in to see that very quickly. But these are some what we call standard client documents that I'm going to have in there for him when he logs in order to require signature and reading. So let's go ahead and see what that's like. So I have, as a client, they just logged in and they have their own dashboard. And on this dashboard, we have some things for them to do, like, hey, we want you to complete your biography. We want you to enable two-factor authentication. We want you to view these client documents. They can see they have an appointment scheduled, when it is, and if they have anything that they owe as far as money. So if we go to My Profile, the patient can update their profile here for you, okay? Their email address, additional email addresses. This is where you can set reminders up in the patient's profile. Additionally, they could set up a reminder for themselves and how they'd like to get it. They can enter credit cards if you're connected with their credit card processing, and change their username and password for their login. They have a biographical form to complete. This form is already pre-built for you. What a time saver that is. And you have some sections that you can customize with your own questions. From a clinical perspective, I think this form is an excellent one. I only add one additional extra question to it because of the population that I tend to treat. But it's going to ask things like their symptoms and treatment they've had in the past. How about their family growing up? How about their childhood experiences? Who lives in the household with them? Relationship history, education, occupation, home life, health. That health section's really done very well. Additional questions. These are questions you can add to this form. And then accomplishments for the patient. Whenever they save this form, it becomes a document available to you as a PDF. And instead of being a really long form like this, it condenses it down for you to make it very readable. Documents and forms. These are forms that those standard client documents, and they're going to be available here. We can see this patient can see they viewed this form before, but they haven't signed it. So if they're going to go in and sign it, they're just going to click sign. It's going to present that form to them. I'll make things a little smaller here. So they can click next and read each page of the form in case it's a long one. And then they'll be able to type their name here and click sign document. Okay. So they would just go through and work with that. In this particular patient, I already have insurance added in, so they're not able to add it themselves in this case, but they are able to do that in a typical circumstance to tell you what their insurance information is. There's a messaging area. The patients can send you a message in Therapy Appointment, and they can include attachments to that message. So maybe you'd like them to send you a copy of their insurance card. Maybe they have referral forms or something like that. So they can go ahead and send that. Also, they'll be able to see upcoming appointments that they have scheduled. And their account. This particular patient doesn't have anything in their account history, but they would see if there was anything that was their responsibility to pay. In other words, we'll be able to let them know what they owe as copays and not ask them for anything that the insurance is most likely going to pay, unless the insurance comes back and it's different than you expected. Okay. So that's the patient portal. They can get all of that done and ready for you before you even see the client for their first session. I'm going to go ahead and just move this over, and we'll get back into our regular view here. Okay. So what I'd like to view next is the process of seeing a patient, and we're going to take this from the perspective of the patient has insurance. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and click on Mona today. We're going to click on her information. Remember, we can do it from many of those views. And I'm going to say start charting. And so I'm going to write this chart note for her today. We have many different chart note styles. SOAP is one many of our customers use for an assessment type note. It has these different sections here: subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. And these are drop-down menus that you can see this is auto-filling for me because I have charted on this patient before using this particular note style. So it's remembering the last thing I charted in it for them and auto-populating that today in order to save me time. Because although we recognize that, things change, it's very often that maybe this stays a little bit static for most times. So maybe we're going to update things like, they're a non-drinker and a non-user of tobacco. We have place for session quotes, their objective information about their mental status. So maybe we'd like to add something about their memory today. Maybe their judgment is normal. Okay. And then you have diagnoses. So we've already pre-diagnosed this patient previously. So today it's auto-populating for me in order to save me time. But if I was changing this diagnosis today, all I have to do is X out of that, and it gives me a blank slate to start with. So all I have to do to type in here as a keyword, such as bipolar, and it's going to bring up one of these many, many bipolar disorder diagnoses for me to choose from. And if I happen to not know how to spell a diagnosis, but you happen to know an area like the F40 range, I can put F40 in and bring up all those diagnoses that have to do with phobias here and choose arachnophobia. Okay. You also have problems lists, virtues, support system, risk assessment for suicidality, homicidality, and substance abuse. And then also a place to set up a plan of treatment for your patient. This plan of treatment is available for you. We have the individual, conjoint, family, and group. You can choose an approach or use one that's unique to you. Your frequency of treatment. So maybe we're going to be updating this. Maybe we're moving this to every other week, and we're keeping the family sessions at every other week as well. And we have our goals here. We have set up one goal so far. A patient will be able to understand boundaries within their family system, and our plans for achievement, a little bit tongue-in-cheek here, to do some therapy stuff and do more therapy stuff. So I could update this today. Maybe our progress has been excellent so far, and we addressed it today, and a future priority is still high. Medications, maybe I need to make changes to these. The next appointment is already scheduled and on the book, so it auto-populates for me. And then you have room for your private notes. It says you can have this for your musings, your wonderings, your things to think about later. Anything you enter in this section is not included in a records request by default, but it can be forced to be included in that records request if you should so need to do so. And I'm going to hit continue. So it took my note. It's giving it to me in a much more readable form. And down here, I have opportunity to continue editing and working on that note. Save it. I've got a patient coming in the door. I'll finish it later. In that case, it's going to put it on my dashboard screen. Or let's save the note. I'm going to choose to lock the note and be done with it. And what happened is Mona turned green on my schedule. So patients start the day out blue on the schedule. And when I've taken action on that appointment, either to mark them as a no-show or late cancel or the fact that they came, I took money, it's going to change color based on my legend over here. So this was an insurance patient. The fact that I wrote a note created a claim for that service. Now, what happens next is as I go through my day and write my notes and sign them, then that claim there's going to be created, and those claims are going to gather up. And they're going to gather up under my claims tracker. So your claims tracker is on the billing and insurance page, and it's right here. And what it says is I have 2 claims waiting for submission. And in order to submit the claims, I'll click this blue button. Whoops, fooled ya, it doesn't really submit claims, but it does give you a look at those claims. So maybe there's one you want to hold back. Maybe you're not ready to send this one on Mona for some reason, and you would like to not send it right now. And you're able to say, click selected, submit selected claims. And if I do that, it's going to send that claim out. Remember, I left one in, so it says I still have one waiting. Now, our attempt is to automate this as much as possible for you. So when you create a claim, it may be that we notice that there's a problem with it and that would get it rejected from the insurance company. And if we notice that, we put it under a claim scrub problem. So you'll see that I have 4 here that we put in that status because we notice something incomplete that if you send it out the way it is, it's going to get rejected. So let's just take a look at Scrubby here. I'm going to click Scrub, and that's going to tell me about this claim. And it says, you don't have an insurance address entered in the patient profile. So you need that or else this claim is going to get rejected. So all I have to do is click Resolve. And here's the section it's talking about. It needs this section filled out. And once I do that, it's going to automatically move that claim into ready for submission status. Once I've submitted those claims, they're going to show up under this submitted area. Okay, so here's all claims I have in submission to the insurance company, the date of service, the date I submitted it, the client's name, provider's name, which is probably yourself, and the status. What the status is it's where it's at in its journey to the insurance company. So queued for submission, these are fake claims, so we really don't want to send them to the insurance company. Queued for submission is the equivalent of they're in the mailbox, okay? Then those claims get picked up by our claim processor, Office Ally, and when that happens, it says accepted by processor, and they scrub them again, and then they send them on to the insurance company, and then the insurance company scrubs them, and then the insurance company accepts them. So as it goes through that process, the status will change according to where it's at in its journey. Okay. So you always know where things are. Let's go back to this billing and insurance screen. So one of the things that happens is that your insurance companies send you an explanation of benefits. And those explanation of benefits, typically, if you get them by paper, might include a paper check, or it might just be a report because you get direct deposit. But those explanation of benefits can come into Therapy Appointment electronically. You get your payment as you always do in your bank account or as a check, but we get the report. And when we get that report, we can automatically tell the system that insurance paid you, what sessions they paid for, how much they paid. And this is a glorious thing. It saves a lot of time. And what happens is that if you want to take a look at what you have been paid on so far, you're able to go up here and say insurance payments. Now I'm going to click on this, and I only have one in there, but let me show you a screenshot and what it would look like from this perspective. So it would look like this. I would see all my insurance company names, the date that it was updated in the system, the check number, the total payment amount. So that would all be listed here, and I could click on it to open it up. Now, additionally, if we find any problems, we're going to give you a warning notice on this billing screen, and that looks like this. So that, for example, you got paid on 7/22 by Magellan, and we noticed there was something in there that you need to investigate. So if you click on it, you're going to get what's called a posted ERA. This is the equivalent of that paper EOB. We're going to tell you how much the check was, what the check or direct deposit number was, and you'll see a list of everybody, all your clients they paid on. And a green check mark means good to go. I don't worry about those. I'm looking for this red triangle. And in that red triangle, it tells me, hey, insurance denied your claim. It paid you $0. It didn't take that money to a deductible or anything. So this looks fishy to us. You may want to investigate it further. And as I read on down the line, it says that they already paid me for this claim once, so they're denying this claim. In that case, I'm just going to confirm I got payment before, and I did. So I can just say, okay, nothing's really wrong here. I've investigated and I don't need this on my dashboard any longer, and I can dismiss that particular warning. So all you have to do to submit claims is send them out, check for any claim scrub problems and fix those. Also, if it may be that the insurance company sends back something as rejected, didn't let it in the door, they'll come here and it'll tell you exactly what you need to fix in order to get it through the door. You'll be able to do that. So all you have to do is pay attention to your billing screen. We'll warn you if any claims have been there a long time, like over 45 days, and you pay attention to those. You get those warnings of the ERAs posting if there's anything we need you to look at. Plus, you have a list of oldest open balances here, so that if you want to take a look at a patient's account and say, well, why do they owe me money? You can click right on their name and see that, yeah, on 5/29 you had a session with this patient. It's a private pay session because there's not a claim attached to this date. If there were a claim attached, this would be a colored line behind it. And this patient owes me $150 for this, and I don't have money. It looks like I gave him a little bit of a discount. But this is all done, and I probably just need to go ahead and send them a statement in the mail and try to collect on that. Okay. So just to review real quickly, we have the schedule. We've talked about the process. We've talked about claims tracking. We've talked about the patient portal. We've talked about that we have teletherapy available. Really, really simple. I think I set up a session as a teletherapy session. Let me take a look. Was it on Claire? Yes. And so it says, all I have to do is click on it. It says teletherapy sessions ready to begin. Your patient gets a notification that your teletherapy session is ready to begin. All they do is click on it, whether they're on their phone, on a tablet, on a desktop, or a laptop, and you're going to be connected via your device. It's that simple. I would click this and show you, except I'm already screen sharing with you on this video. So if I click this, nothing's going to happen because I can't do two at the same time. Okay. We've taken a look at documentation, and let's take another look back at documentation just to look at the different chart note formats that we offer. We offer you 3 preset chart note templates that you can choose to use. That SOAP note, there's a simple note, which is pretty simple. Indicate your service for today, diagnoses, and you just have a text field to write your note in. And there is what's called a HIPAA note. Now, HIPAA note is one of those that most of our customers use for a typical treatment session. And it has some boxes here. I haven't used a HIPAA note on this patient previously. But if I were to put in his symptoms like, anxiety and his functioning level and his medication, maybe he's on Zoloft, and his prognosis and appointment frequency is going to be 2 times a week right now. And then I can put in, blah, 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 blah. I already have a treatment plan on him, so I can choose to include it in today's note, maybe make some edits or changes to it. And then I'm going to hit continue. Okay. So here's my note. Okay. And I can finalize that and lock it. Okay. So I'm just going to go back here and continue editing for now. And let's use this drop-down menu. You have the ability to create your own custom templates in Therapy Appointment. And these templates I'm showing right here are ones that this particular provider created for themselves. So they're always available to you. Also, if you'd like to just take the narrative of your previous chart note and put it in for today so you can make changes to that or edit from there, you have that ability. That one typically is used a lot by our prescribers, and they might make their own chart note template, but like to put last time's template in there so they can see exactly what they did, and maybe they'd like to just start from there. Okay, so those are our chart note templates. Now, before we looked at the patient portal, but we didn't take a look at how patients can book online. So booking online takes a couple of things. First of all, you have to tell us that you're willing to have patients book online. So this doesn't happen by accident. You don't ever have to turn it on, but you will have your client portal settings here. So under client portal, you'll say, do you want to allow clients to schedule online? And the answer is yes or no, but it could be yes with some constraints. So for example, well, yes, I would like them to, but I don't want to let new clients schedule online, but I'm okay with active clients scheduling online. And I can limit how soon they can schedule an appointment, like maybe they can't schedule in the next 2 or 8 or 12 or 72 hours, for example. So it's a very, very sophisticated scheduler here that makes it easy for you. So let's take a look here at, I'm going to sign in as a client very quickly. It's the different client, and it happens to be, let me find a good one. We'll try this one. Nope. Yep, chose the wrong one. I know what I'm doing. I'm using a different browser. So let me just, what I'm going to do is I am just going to log out of this one real quick, sign out, and we'll sign in. I'm going to go in as Wendy. Okay, so Wendy's the patient. She has a couple of appointments already on the books, 2 days from now and a couple of weeks from now. And she realizes this 1 and 2 weeks she's not going to be able to make because she's got to go out of town. So she's going to go ahead and cancel this appointment. She'll give you a reason and go ahead and cancel that. And now she's going to look for another appointment because she wants to schedule one when she gets back. This therapist has 3 different locations they work from, so it's going to offer those 3 locations. She wants to go to the main location. She can choose a start date here. Maybe she knows she's looking for this week of the 27th, so she can just jump right to there. Here are appointment times that she can schedule into. She's going to take that Wednesday at 9 a.m. and schedule that appointment. So she just did all of that, and you will receive email notifications that that's just happened, and her initials will be in that email notification, and she'll automatically be on your schedule. So that's pretty simple and easy, and you have all those rules you can set up about this situation. Okay. Now, with credit card processing, let's take a look at that. And I'm just going to sign out as being a client, and I'm going to sign back in as being a provider. So credit card processing, we integrate with TSYS, also known as Cayenne. They merged here recently. And they provide some pretty good rates. They charge 0.25% over the interchange rate, which is what the card itself charges to process, and 10 cents a transaction. However, we do give you some instructions how to connect with them and make sure that you might even be able to negotiate something even less than that, by the way. But when you have an account set up, those deposits will go right into your bank, but they all function right within Therapy Appointment. So if I go to my schedule today and I want to check in and take money from Mona, maybe she's here, I'm going to say accept payment. And do I want to take payment just for today, or see what else she owes me, if anything? So it's just for today. She owes $25 for her copay, and she's going to go ahead and pay that today. She's going to pay by credit card. I'm just going to hit continue. This is a confirmation screen. And then if she's at the office, she could swipe her card through a card reader. Just plugs in the USB port of your computer or device. You can have it at your desk or counter, and the patient can self-swipe through. I can use a card that we already have on file for this patient, or I could enter a card manually in case we don't have a card swiper. I'm just going to say use existing card. We have a card on file. I can see the last 4 digits of that card number. You can keep more than one card on file for a patient, 2, 3, or 4 cards. Sometimes that's very handy when a patient has an HSA card. Maybe as a kid, they have mom's card and dad's card. So you have that ability to do this. I'm just going to say use this card. And now that has been approved and processed. Pretty simple. Last but not least, let's take a look at our insight reporting. So reporting, you have your account aging report, but you also have your income summary. You can look at your income summary year to date. You can look at it for a particular month time range. If you happen to be in a group practice, you can drill this down into looking to a particular provider or location. So if I click on that and hit filter, we'll see this just for John Doe. And we'll also be able to view this income journal line by line, every payment that was made, and drill this down. So what I'd like to do is just show insurance and client payments that came in. So here we go, and we have a look at that in case we're looking for something in particular. You have other reporting functions available that are going to talk to you about CPT codes used and your activity, as well as patient demographics. Okay, so let's take a look here as we finish up as to why do customers switch to Therapy Appointment. Well, first and foremost here is your colleagues love us. And we have some of the best word of mouth marketing in the country because we offer great customer support. We've been around a long time, and we recognize that we're only as successful as you are. We absolutely love nurturing therapists who are new to private practice and insurance billing. And we want you to provide the therapy and not worry about the rest. So what you can do is use our on-demand online training sessions and use our dynamic library of resources. So right within Therapy Appointment, you have a help button to be able to access help information, connect with customer support. And additionally, on our homepage, you have online learning manuals and video tutorials available for you, as well as additional resources like how to grow your practice and connecting with others who have written, other therapists who have written articles for you here. The other thing is that security is our priority, and we meet and really in most cases exceed the requirements set forth by HIPAA and high-tech laws. Our software security and hosting is managed by National Security Administration trained programmers, and your data is held alongside where NASA holds theirs, your online banking system holds theirs, and it's all protected by that two-factor authentication. We're also innovative. Our customers drive our development. We were the first platform on the cloud developed specifically for mental health providers, and our new 2.0 platform allows us rapid deployment of new or improved features. We are also cost effective. We love to help therapists new to private practice grow, and we like to nurture you by keeping our prices low while offering you access to all of our key features while you develop your practice. So not only do you get your first month free, but in that first month, if you schedule fewer than 10 sessions, your next month is only $10. And you'll stay at that rate until you're scheduling 11 to 39 sessions a month. And then we'll move you to a price saving $39 a month until you're growing into a more established practice and you're scheduling 40 or more sessions a month. This is our usual rate, is $59 a month. But if you look down here, your features in all of these are exactly the same. You can do anything you need to within the low cost account that you can do the higher cost account. So we want to save you money while you're growing and developing your practice. I've been there, I've done that. I know that it can take a little while sometimes. So we're happy to help you out. Additionally, we are experts, okay? We were our customer service agents and our trainers, our psychologists and therapists and billing agents, many of whom have managed their own practice with Therapy Appointment. We actively live in your world and understand your needs and your processes. And last but not least, we give back. We believe that too many Americans are struggling with mental health challenges without the help they need. And so we have a philanthropic mission in which we want to help build a world where support and mental health services are available to all who need it. Thus, we give a portion of our profits to those industries and nonprofits who are committed to improving our community and the world around us through mental health. All right. I thank you today for joining us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to connect with us. You can email me if you'd like, Denise at TherapyAppointment.com. And I want to thank you for choosing a career focused on helping others. I know that you're doing what you love. Have a great day.